Just 1 minute ago, Ford dropped an announcement that has sent a shockwave through the entire car market, and the industry is scrambling to make sense of what just happened. This isn't a small update, this isn't a quiet press release, this is a full-scale disruption aimed directly at every automaker that thought they had 2025 under control. Ford has officially revealed a move so aggressive, so unexpected, that even analysts who usually predict everything are admitting they didn't see this one coming. And now the entire market, from dealers to competitors to customers, is reacting in real time. Ford has confirmed that it is launching a sweeping new strategy that flips the traditional pricing model on its head. Instead of slow price cuts or limited incentives, Ford is slashing prices across multiple models at once, triggering what experts are calling a forced market correction. We're talking thousands off popular trucks and SUVs, immediate nationwide availability, and zero delay implementation. Competitors were banking on gradual shifts, but Ford just turned the dial from adjustment to shock therapy, and the ripple effect is already hitting GM, Toyota, Stellantis, and even Tesla like a tidal wave. And what makes this even crazier is the timing. The market is already unstable, inventory piling up, interest rates crushing demand, used car prices collapsing, and automakers quietly panicking behind closed doors. But Ford stepped forward and said, "We're not waiting, we're resetting the market ourselves." Analysts say this is the boldest pricing move since the 2008 financial crisis, except now the stakes are even higher because the entire auto industry is standing on a fragile foundation of massive EV investments, bloated inventories, and shrinking profit margins. Dealers are in total disbelief. Some are celebrating because showroom traffic just exploded overnight, while others are terrified that Ford's ultra-aggressive strategy will become the new normal that they'll be forced to match whether they're ready or not. And customers are already flooding social media, stunned that Ford actually made a move that benefits them instead of the manufacturer. People who delayed buying because of insane prices are suddenly reconsidering, and the phones are ringing faster than sales teams can answer. But Ford didn't stop with pricing. According to sources, this announcement includes a radical restructuring of how Ford will handle vehicle production, logistics, and dealer allocation going forward. Instead of overbuilding and praying the market absorbs the excess, Ford is shifting to a hyper-disciplined build-to-demand strategy. This is the same strategy Toyota mastered decades ago, but Ford is adding something extra, a digital AI-powered forecasting system that will allow them to cut waste, reduce costs, and respond to market shifts weeks faster than their rivals. In an industry where a 6-week delay can cost billions, this alone could reshape the competitive landscape. And then comes the part that caught everyone off guard. Ford has announced a new push to overhaul its entire EV lineup strategy, but not the slow, cautious approach everyone expected. Ford is repositioning its EVs not as premium niche products, but as mass market, aggressively priced alternatives that directly challenge Chinese manufacturers dominating global EV affordability. This is a massive reversal from the high-priced EVs most American brands have been pushing, and the message is clear. Ford wants to be the company that finally breaks the EV affordability barrier in the US, and here's where the real panic begins. Every competitor now knows they'll have to respond, because if Ford sticks to this strategy, brands like Chevrolet, Honda, Hyundai, and Nissan won't be able to hide behind excuses. The pressure is instant and the consequences are enormous. Ford has essentially fired the first shot in what could become the biggest price war the US auto market has seen in decades, and experts are already predicting the next 12 months could reshape the entire industry. But that's only the beginning, because Ford's announcement also included something else, something even more disruptive that nobody expected and that the other automakers are absolutely terrified of. And this is where things get really interesting. Ford has revealed that it is preparing to merge its traditional dealership operations with a new, streamlined, factory-direct digital sales system, something legacy automakers have avoided for decades. This hybrid model allows customers to order vehicles directly from Ford at a locked, transparent price, while still picking up and servicing their cars at local dealerships. It's a strategic masterstroke. Ford keeps dealers in the loop to avoid backlash, but it takes back control of pricing, inventory, and delivery speed, and this instantly threatens the old-school dealership model that has kept prices high and negotiating painful for buyers. Rivals are stunned that Ford managed to pull this off without igniting a dealer revolt, and analysts are now saying Ford may have just solved the biggest logistical nightmare in the US auto market. And just as the industry was trying to process that bombshell, Ford delivered another hit. The company confirmed it will be slashing internal production costs by re-engineering key vehicle platforms to be lighter, simpler, and cheaper to build, without cutting durability. Instead of chasing luxury margins like its rivals, Ford is doubling down on value, efficiency, and accessibility. This shift signals something the entire market feared. Ford is preparing for a prolonged economic downturn, and it's positioning itself to survive a recession that could crush competitors still clinging to expensive EV strategies and bloated supply chains. The message couldn't be clearer. Ford is preparing for the storm, even if everyone else is pretending the skies are blue. Then the shockwave intensified even further when Ford executives confirmed that the company is launching a brand new low-cost vehicle program aimed at undercutting both US and foreign competitors, especially the rapidly advancing Chinese brands. These aren't cheap, stripped-down econoboxes. These are smart budget vehicles designed with modular components, simplified assembly processes, and global parts compatibility. Ford is essentially reinventing what affordable means in the modern auto market, and insiders say one prototype is already being called the spiritual successor to the Fiesta, but smarter, tougher, and built for 2030, not 2010. If Ford pulls this off, it could dominate the entry-level segment that every other brand has abandoned. And here's where things become genuinely alarming for Ford's competitors. This entire announcement appears to be part of a coordinated plan to rebuild Ford's market share from the ground up, targeting price-sensitive buyers, pickup loyalists, first-time shoppers, and EV skeptics all at once. No automaker, absolutely none, has attempted a multi-front strategy like this in over 20 years. Ford is attacking on pricing, production, technology, logistics, and product lineup simultaneously. It's a blitz, and competitors are struggling to keep up with even one part of the equation, let alone all of it. Meanwhile, Wall Street is scrambling to reassess Ford's long-term position. Analysts who were previously bearish on Ford's EV future are now calling the announcement the most aggressive market realignment from a legacy automaker in the past decade. Investors are suddenly asking if Ford just leapfrogged GM, Stellantis, and even Tesla in strategic positioning. And with EV price wars heating up and global competition intensifying, Ford may have just positioned itself as the only legacy automaker able to compete on price, production, and scale at the same time. But Ford wasn't done yet, because buried deep in the announcement was one final detail that the media initially overlooked, and once people noticed it, the entire conversation shifted instantly. And this detail is the one that could completely rewrite Ford's future and send every other automaker into full-blown crisis mode. Ford quietly confirmed the development of a next-generation universal chassis platform, something insiders say is the company's most ambitious engineering project in over a decade. This platform isn't just flexible, it's designed to support gas, hybrid, and EV powertrains on the same fundamental architecture. That means Ford can pivot production in real time based on market demand without spending billions retooling factories. While other automakers are trapped in rigid, single-purpose EV platforms that only make sense at high volumes, Ford is building a system that can shift between different propulsion types with minimal cost, minimal downtime, and maximum speed. This one detail instantly sets Ford apart, because in a volatile market where consumer demand changes month to month, adaptability is everything. Industry experts are already saying this could be Ford's golden ticket. It gives the company a level of flexibility that Tesla can't touch, GM can't match, and Toyota didn't attempt because they were committed to traditional hybrids. Ford is essentially future-proofing its entire lineup. If EV demand rises, Ford can switch to EV builds. If hybrids dominate, Ford can build hybrids. If the market swings back to ICE, Ford can adjust. This is the kind of strategic agility that can save billions and outmaneuver competitors stuck with slow, rigid, multi-year planning cycles. But what really caught the industry off guard was the timing. Ford unveiled this plan just as major automakers are cutting EV production, delaying battery programs, and desperately trying to avoid huge financial write-downs. Meanwhile, Ford is stepping forward with a platform that reduces risk, cuts cost, and gives them an escape hatch if the EV market becomes unpredictable. It's the smartest move Ford has made in years, and it's sending a loud message. Ford isn't betting on one future, it's preparing for every future. And as analysts dug deeper into the announcement, another detail emerged that set social media on fire. Ford revealed that this new platform will be paired with a radical overhaul of its battery strategy. Instead of relying on high-cost, high-risk battery technologies, Ford is pivoting toward affordable, iron-based chemistries that are cheaper, safer, and easier to scale. This is the same formula that made Chinese EV makers extremely competitive, and now Ford is preparing to bring that strategy to North America. The goal? Deliver EVs that don't just match competitors, they undercut them by thousands while still offering realistic range and durability. The reaction from rivals has been pure chaos. GM insiders are reportedly furious that Ford beat them to this kind of flexibility, especially after GM committed billions to EV-only architectures that are now limiting their ability to adjust. Stellantis is scrambling because their US brands are already struggling to compete on price. And Tesla, which built its empire on scale advantages, now faces a legacy automaker that's learning how to match efficiency and beat them on affordability at the same time. And yet, Ford still wasn't finished, because at the very end of the announcement came a cryptic line that has sparked massive speculation and could end up being the most disruptive element of all. According to Ford's leadership, the company is preparing to unveil a new category of vehicle designed for a changing economic landscape, something that insiders say is unlike anything Ford currently sells and unlike anything any other American automaker is even talking about right now. Ford hasn't released any images, specs, or timelines, but insiders are already leaking hints, and every hint points to something huge. This mysterious new category isn't a truck, not an SUV, not a crossover, and not a traditional EV. It's a purpose-built vehicle engineered specifically for the economic reality most Americans are living through right now. High costs, shrinking budgets, unstable fuel prices, and a market where people can't afford $60,000 entry-level EVs. Sources say Ford is designing a rugged, ultra-efficient modular vehicle that prioritizes durability and affordability over luxury and gimmicks. Think of it as Ford's answer to the crisis that automakers have been ignoring for a decade. What makes this even more shocking is that Ford appears to be taking inspiration from markets where practicality dominates. Places like Southeast Asia, Africa, and South America, where vehicles are built to be tough, cheap to run, easy to repair, and resistant to harsh conditions. For years, American automakers dismissed this category as too basic for US buyers. But now, with inflation crushing household budgets and loan rates hitting record highs, Ford is flipping the narrative and betting that Americans are ready for vehicles that deliver value first. This move signals a profound shift in Ford's philosophy. Less focus on bloated features, more focus on engineering that actually solves real-world problems. Meanwhile, social media is exploding with theories. Some believe Ford is working on a modern reinterpretation of the classic small utility pickup, a go-anywhere, fix-it-yourself compact truck designed for tradespeople, small businesses, and everyday drivers who need capability without a monster price tag. Others think Ford is developing a new class of micro-utility vehicles, combining elements of a hatchback, van, and compact EV to create something uniquely efficient. And then there are insiders whispering about an off-road capable budget SUV built for the post-SUV era. Simple, modular, and ready for anything. Nobody knows for sure, but one thing is clear. This vehicle is designed to disrupt. Competitors are rattled because they know Ford has the manufacturing scale, dealer network, and brand loyalty to make a new category mainstream almost overnight. And if Ford manages to launch an ultra-affordable, rugged, mass-market vehicle during a period of economic uncertainty, the entire auto landscape could shift instantly. The pressure would be overwhelming for GM, Hyundai, Honda, Nissan, and even Toyota, brands that have spent years abandoning affordable segments for high-margin SUVs and luxury trims. Ford is essentially calling out the entire industry and saying, if you won't build for the majority of people, we will. But just when it seemed the announcement couldn't get any more intense, Ford executives dropped one more revelation, subtle, easy to miss, but massive in its implications. According to Ford's leadership, this new category will launch alongside a completely redesigned ownership model, one that blends subscription services, traditional financing, and low-cost upgrade packages into a flexible system that adapts to the driver's budget and needs. This isn't a gimmicky car subscription. This is Ford allowing customers to scale features up or down without replacing the vehicle, something that could massively massively extend vehicle lifespan and slash ownership costs. And now the industry is scrambling again, because if Ford can make this ownership model work, it could permanently change how Americans buy vehicles. And hidden in the final lines of Ford's announcement was a clue, one that suggests this move is part of an even larger, more ambitious plan that the public hasn't fully grasped yet. Ford hinted that this entire shift, new pricing, new platforms, new vehicle categories, new ownership models, is only phase one of a larger multi-year strategy that the company has been quietly developing behind closed doors. And this is where things get truly wild, because according to internal sources, phase two is designed to strike at the very core of what has been draining American car buyers for years: the skyrocketing cost of maintenance, repairs, and parts. Ford's leadership made a cryptic statement about restoring affordability across the full life cycle of vehicle ownership, and analysts immediately understood what that meant. Ford is preparing to reinvent the parts and service ecosystem in a way that could break the stranglehold of overly complex systems, hard-to-repair designs, and ridiculous service fees that have been hurting customers for decades. Insiders say Ford is developing a standardized components initiative where a massive portion of parts, across different models and trims, will use the same modular designs, interchangeable fittings, and simplified assemblies. This would be a complete reversal of the trend every automaker followed for the past 15 years. Where parts became proprietary, custom-shaped, and nearly impossible for independent mechanics to access. Ford seems ready to swing the pendulum back in the other direction, making repairs easier, faster, and dramatically cheaper. If this is true, the implications are enormous. It means Ford could slash service times, cut warranty costs, and win back customers who feel suffocated by repair bills. Even more importantly, it places tremendous pressure on competitors to follow suit or risk losing millions of buyers who just want a vehicle that doesn't bankrupt them in maintenance. But then came the part that made the entire service industry break into a cold sweat. Ford appears to be preparing an official partnership program for independent repair shops across the country, giving them access to diagnostics, manuals, and parts pricing that, until now, were locked behind dealership walls. In other words, Ford might be about to blow the doors open on a broader national right-to-repair movement voluntarily. No lawsuits, no court battles, just a strategic decision that positions Ford as the most customer-friendly automaker in America. If this happens, the ripple effects could demolish the service monopolies that some automakers rely on, and it would further cement Ford as the brand finally listening to what customers have been demanding for years. Analysts are stunned because this strategy is almost unheard of for a legacy automaker. It's bold, it's aggressive, and it's something only a company preparing for a fundamental industry reset would attempt. Ford isn't fixing one problem, it is attacking every major pressure point in the car ownership experience. High prices, cut, rigid production, fixed, EV uncertainty, neutralized, new vehicle category, launched, repair monopolies, challenged. And if this is only phase one and phase two, then phase three, the part Ford hasn't revealed yet, could be the biggest shock of all. And that brings us to the final line in Ford's announcement, the line that sent chills through industry insiders and left the entire auto market holding its breath. Ford ended the release by saying it is preparing to make the most significant transformation of the brand's identity in modern history, something that will redefine not just what Ford sells, but what Ford is. And experts are already speculating that this could mean a full restructuring of how Ford positions itself globally, something far beyond vehicles, far beyond dealerships, and far beyond anything the public is expecting. Industry insiders are buzzing because Ford doesn't use language like this unless something massive is brewing. The phrase transformation of the brand's identity is not a marketing refresh, not a logo redesign, not a new slogan. This kind of wording signals a fundamental repositioning, something that could reshape Ford's entire presence in the global auto landscape. And according to people close to the situation, Ford is preparing to shift from being just an automaker into a broader mobility and industrial powerhouse, one that blends manufacturing, technology, energy, and infrastructure into a unified ecosystem. This is the kind of pivot companies attempt once in a generation, and Ford is signaling that it's finally ready to evolve into a company built for the next 50 years, not the last 100. The clues are everywhere. Ford has been quietly expanding partnerships with energy companies, software firms, and logistics networks. It's been restructuring its global factories to operate more like modular tech hubs rather than traditional assembly lines.